So I had an inquiry about my splitter on my table saw, so I thought that today we'd take a quick look at that. Now first of all, this is not a riving knife, it's a splitter. I made a little pattern. A riving knife is a curved piece of metal that is mounted on the same mechanism that the saw blade is mounted on. So when the saw blade goes up, the riving knife goes up. When the saw blade goes down, it goes down. When it tilts, the riving knife tilts. So it's always in line with the saw blade. It's also tucked in much closer than the splitter. It's just a quarter inch or so. I don't even know, a little bit behind the saw blade. It follows the curve of it, so there's less chance of the wood getting in there and pinching. And finally, it's just a little bit shorter than the top of the saw blade, so that you can even use it on non-through cuts. Now, if I was getting a new table saw, I'd want a riving knife. But this is not a new table saw. It's from 2001. That wasn't an option back then. There's all kinds of old table saws out there where it's not an option. For us, we need a splitter. Now back when I bought this saw, it came with this massive splitter and blade guard. It's supposed to be mounted something like this. I've never used it. Now it's an informed choice. It's my own choice. Hopefully you're an adult and you can make your own informed choice about table saw safety. And yeah, I know that's not going to stop the comment trolls, but I had to say it. So I didn't want to use this big thing, but I still was concerned about table saw safety. You know, I've had kickback, and when there's kickback on this saw, that is not a fun day in the shop. I've got all 10 fingers and I want to keep it that way. So I hit on this fairly simple and cheap solution to add a splitter to my table saw. Here's a piece of scrap steel. Mine happens to be an old shelf support that I picked up from the trash or something like that. The key with this piece of metal is that it needs to be just a little bit thinner than your table saw blade. So here's my splitter, which as you can see, I just cut out of a piece of this shelf support like that. The key thing is this slot here so that you can mount it in your table saw. So it now nicely fits onto the bolt that was designed for holding the factory splitter. As a splitter, it works just fine. Holds stock tight to the fence and eliminates the stock from pinching the blade. Another bonus is that I can just leave this in when I'm using my crosscut sled, as the splitter just slides through the slot in the sled. So it doesn't tilt. And it doesn't go up and down with the blade. And there's a fairly large gap between the blade and the splitter. You know, once or twice I've had it where wood has started to move into that. Very rare. But it's a lot better than nothing. And it cost me nothing. So that's about it. It's a quick and simple little mod that makes my older non-Sawstop, non-riving knife table saw just a little bit safer. So, as always, I'd like to thank you for stopping by and spending some time in my shop. I hope you found something interesting and enjoyable, and we'll see you next time.